Yeah.
You can get more with sugar than with vinegar.
And you've told
Yeah.
me that about marriage.
So at the end, it's like you control yourself and the power that you have over your mind, and to really
Yeah.
think positive thoughts, but also help you through a circumstance is very powerful.
You've have a lot of good advice. You've had a lot of good advice that I will keep looking for.
Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to Things No One Tells You. All right, so this one is, I'm bringing it back because I'm just going to be honest. I love the holidays, but at the same time, I have equal anxiety around them. And I have finally become old enough and seasoned enough in my life to admit the fact that I find them stressful because I put so much warmth and like expectation into them because of, I think, what they meant to me growing up, which might sound crazy. But anyway, this episode is a special one that I did, and I recorded this 2 years ago, but I really felt called to put it out this week because I think anybody that is just thinking a lot about family this time of year, as we all are want to do, I think that there is so much in this conversation that I still think about today. So this was when I went to my grandma's house. My Grandma Vee lived in Western Pennsylvania. My other grandmother, Ellie, is still living. She is 95 years old. She was my only now remaining grandparent that I have. But I went to my Grandma Vee's house to have a conversation with my grandma and my mom, Terri, because growing up, I didn't live close to my grandparents or my aunts and uncles. We only lived like a 4-hour drive away, but still it made it feel like this really special thing that we were doing anytime we went to see them for the holidays or just for a visit. But I also realized that it made that time when we were visiting them just feel really, really special, almost like you didn't want it to end because we didn't get to see them all the time, right? So this conversation that I had with my grandma and my mom, I really wanted to talk to my grandma about her life experience, just like all the different things, and ask her a lot of questions about growing up, about also when she was a mom, where she worked, how she did all the things. And it was really cool to have my mom there because it presented this completely different view that I have ever had of my mom, myself, my grandma, because I was sort of hearing these stories and making these connections at that time about like, oh my gosh, this is why I do that, because that's where it comes from in these two women before me. And I found that really powerful. And I'm guessing that some of you hearing this will understand exactly what I'm talking about. There are stories that my grandma shared that had me laughing out loud, especially the story about when she was about to give birth to my mom. I don't want to spoil it, but when you get there, you will know, because I can't imagine that happening now. But also, I wanted to share that something that I have thought about a lot in my life, even when I was in high school and college, because we did not live close to our family. I would from time to time feel this pull like, oh, I want to go see my grandparents. I really want to go see them and visit them and see the rest of the family. And we all get busy, right? And we have these lives, whether you're in college or you're out of college or you're working with kids, whatever. And there is not one time that I made that drive 4 hours that I ever regretted the time spent. And it could have been just time spending one night with my grandma and my granddad, seeing my aunts and uncles. So I hope people out there take that like I one time had someone say to me, you will never regret the time that you actually go and spend with them. And I really now looking back, I'm like, that is probably one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever gotten, because man, is that true. Now, moving on. The other thing that I hope you take from this conversation is people say this, but listening back to this and having this conversation with my mom and my grandma, I realize we are so much a product of where we're from and how we're raised and who our people are around us. I mean, that's very true. But when you think about it in that way, the way that you deal with circumstances that come at you in daily life, and you think about and take time to hear the history of your family around you, I really found that helped me in like guiding me in even the way that I made decisions. I feel that there is so much power in taking time to ask the questions. And that comes from if you're trying to step to the next level in a job. And it also comes to if you want to be closer with your family, So I would say taking the time to sit with your relatives around your holiday tables and just asking random questions, getting to know something that you've never asked before about the history of, what life was like. It's just so valuable. I'm done with my deep thoughts with Lindsay, but I hope you love this episode. My Grandma Vee, who passed away almost 2 years ago now. I'm so grateful that I had this conversation with her. I'm so glad that my mom was there to be a part of it, and I hope that you enjoy.
Hey, everybody. All right, I'm so glad you're here for this episode because this one's a little personal. I'm bringing you inside my grandma's house in Western Pennsylvania. So my Grandma Vee just turned 95, and she's amazing. She always had cheese and crackers out anytime we would show up when I was growing up during my childhood. But I asked she and my mom to join me for a conversation to talk about a lot of different things. And I'm so excited for you guys to be a part of this. Come on inside. Hello. This is so awesome because I just really want us to have a conversation about just dynamics in life. And Grandma, you've lived in this house since the 40s. You built this house with your bare hands, but you're now 95. Like, that's so incredible. How do you feel being 95?
I don't feel that old. I really don't, but I'm glad I am that old.
Yeah.
Because it's good to be able to look around and talk to people about things that happen. Then all of a sudden I remember I'm older than all those people.
So you know more.
But that's true. You really are.
Yeah, so that's the point I'm at. But it's fun because then people ask me what it was like. And it was a great life.
And I guess that's kind of where I started really wanting to talk to you is what is it like, but also like what you've learned, what you take away from things. But there are so many stories too that like my mom has filled in the gaps during the years, but you realize you don't really know about,
Mm-hmm.
What were you like as a kid?
I was a little bit different because I wanted to play and have a good time. And then as I got older, then I got more serious. And so as I got more serious, then that's how I wanted to raise my children. And it worked out so good.
But when you had your kids, you still wanted to play and have a good time.
Really?
You did. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Dad and I would go out, my mother would watch the kids, and we would go down to the club. And all of our family would go down to the club and dance on a Saturday night. And that was nice.
How did you meet Granddad Joe?
Down a post office. He came home from the service, and I would go down after school to pick up the mail, and he would be down there, and then he would stick around or I would stick around until the other one would be seen, and then we just like played cat and dog,
So you knew you
Yeah.
liked him.
So if I wasn't waiting for him, he was waiting for me. And then after the length of time, then he had appendix operation. And when he had his appendix operation, his friends would stand there like this because they were mad because I was taking their friend away.
Oh, wow.
They didn't like it that I was liking him.
That was the good old boys club, and
Yeah.
you were the girl trying to get into it.
Yeah.
And they knew he was smitten.
Girls
Probably.
didn't do anything about it. It was the boys that were fighting it.
Isn't that so
Oh,
funny?
that's so funny.
But interesting.
How did he ask you to marry him?
We were going to go to Vogue Terrace, which is a very fancy restaurant going out of our area. And as he pulled off the road, and as he pulled off the road, then he said, "Just a minute, I want to give you something." So he gave me an engagement ring and asked me would I accept it. I said, "I sure will."
Oh.
So then we got engaged, and then it wasn't that long we got married after that. So it went very nice. And we had parents' approval. Parents didn't say, "No, you can't do that."
And you were young.
How old were you?
19.
Whoa. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He was 4 years older, right?
Yeah. I got this turquoise dress, and it had a low waistband, and on it had this ruffle that came up like that. And it was so gorgeous. that everybody that saw it went crazy over it. So
Oh my gosh.
it made it special. It really did.
Wow. So when you guys got married, and then I think something that's so interesting is how this community was built. And I know there's a lot of family that lives here, but how it was a homesteading community, and you were given an opportunity to apply, right, for the
Right.
land and for. So what was that process like?
Anybody that wanted to move ahead in life had the opportunity to go down to the factory. They had an office at the factory, and anybody that wanted to get a good future started would go to that factory and apply for a job. And then we got a job at the factory. And by getting that job, it paid for what we needed to start building a house.
Wow.
And so that was tough, though, because it's expensive to build a house, and you don't make a lot of money in a factory. But they knew we were serious, and we knew they were serious, so everybody worked together. Nobody was like cutting each other's heads off. And it just went perfectly. Yeah.
What were you like at that point? Were you interested in really working? What were women like then?
Once I met him, I just wanted to get married
Wow.
because he was a handsome guy. And he liked me too, so it worked out good. Yeah.
Were there things that you had thought that you wanted to do, like your interests, even after you met Granddad, things that you really liked to do professionally or?
He wanted to go to body and fender school
Okay.
because he was just working at an ordinary factory. And when he went to body and fender school, he was able to get a trade. And by getting that trade at body and fender school, then when he graduated from that school, he got a job at General Motors. And that's where he was working after that. And then he was making good enough money to start building a house. So he went down to Wagner, which was a lumber yard in Youngwood. It's right at the train station. And he went there and he said, I want really bad to get married. I came from the service. And he said, I met this woman that I like. And he said, I'd like to marry her, but I want to make sure I can support her. So he said, okay, every Friday, somebody can come down and pick up a load of lumber worth that amount of money. And then you go home and you do the building, come back the next week, and we'll see what we can do for you again. And that's how we built a whole house.
You moved in on the back of a lot that Grandma had.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was wondering when you were saying that if you think that they approved that situation because Dad said he had just come back from the service. And if they knew that he was probably a good risk from that, I was wondering about
And
that.
that's what I think it was, because he was dependable.
Oh, wow.
And they knew that he wasn't going to renege on it, you know? So it worked out really well. And then we both worked then. And
Yeah.
I worked in the factory, and then he got a job after that at General Motors.
And your factory was making clothes? Is
Yes.
that correct? And then during when the war started, you were making clothes for servicemen?
Right.
Is that right? Wow. And then this one came along, my mom.
Yep.
What do you remember of that time when you found out that you were going to have a baby for the first time?
Well, we had to wait a little while because we couldn't do that right away with like stopping the schedule. So we didn't get pregnant right away because we wanted to have the house partially up before we did that. So if you noticed on the pictures, we had a black house with black paper on the outside. It did not have siding on it
Whoa.
because it cost a lot of money to buy siding.
And you lived in that house?
So we built the house that far, put the black siding on it. When the black siding was on it, then we decided it was time to have the baby.
Wow.
And that was it.
So what do you remember about when you found out that you were going to have a baby?
Well, you had to have someone to, then that gives you that drive.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a drive like that, then you want to get everything done you plan to do.
Wow.
And it worked out perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when Mom was born, what do you remember of that?
Oh my. Well, I think,
How about the day that I was born and you were going into labor? And it was a Sunday, right?
oh, it was a Sunday. And I said to Dad, I go, Joe, wake up. We have to go to the hospital. No, we have to go to church first. I said, we can't go to church first. We have to go to the hospital.
And what happened?
Then we went to church.
What?
Yeah,
You were in labor during church?
yeah.
And how did that feel?
But see, the first time it takes longer.
Well, yeah.
So
Were you in pain in church?
so priorities.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What kind of mom was Grandma?
Oh, she was great. She was great. Yeah.
What was she like
was
as a
fun
mom?
She was a fun mom.
Really?
Yeah, she was. You were. If you always did things around the house, but if there was something better to do with us, she'd say, okay, let's just do it.
Uh-huh.
I was one who loved to go shopping, and now I probably regret that because I hear about it all the time about how we always went shopping for me. But you like to shop.
My mom
too.
has 2 younger sisters.
Yep.
Sandy, my Aunt Sandy's 2 years younger, and my Aunt Anita is 9 years younger than my mom.
So I think a lot of times they just got dragged along with that when they wouldn't have chosen to do that. But the shopping was a big deal for us because and even until today, when I go out shopping, I always know that like lunch will be a part of it or maybe a drink because that's just what we did. And we would go out and we would stop and have just a small lunch and shop and then come home. But she would do that, or like if there was a pool here in Youngwood and Mom might have a bunch of stuff to do that day and I would say, can we go to the pool? And she'd say, sure. And we should just stop what we were doing and we'd all go to the pool. It's a public pool. And or used to make a lot of stuff to have around when my friends would come over. And I remember my friends will still on Facebook, I'll see them, they'll say, your mom was always the most fun. And it's true, she would make like cream puffs and they'd all come in. And a lot of the friends are people that I still see at reunions and stuff.
Grandma, you're where my mom gets it. Because that's true. That's how I see you. Don't make that cry face.
That's right.
But it's what drives my husband crazy about me. He's like, can't you focus? Don't go do this and that. But I think there's so much that's important. I'm a crier. I will not do that. But I think that's awesome. We call it woo.
Yeah.
It's my mom's woo. So what did you why were you like that? Why did you like to just go and have fun? What do you think? Where does that come from?
I just figure you keep moving along. You don't stop.
Do you remember how you always would watch American Bandstand with us?
Oh, yeah.
We knew every song on American Bandstand on the black and white TV. We would watch it. We knew everybody's name on the show. Myrna and we knew everybody's name.
Don't you think sometimes you just have to go for the adventure?
Yep.
That's what I really believe. That's what my mom taught me. I mean, we talk about that all the time. God, what's wrong?
And that drives your dad crazy too because I want too many adventures.
I want to hear about the family dynamics of how you did it in one house. What was it like growing up? How many of you lived together for how long?
Like before anybody got married, how was that?
Well, before we got married, us girls would all go to a dance. And that's how we would meet the nice guys, Had to be a nice guy. So we would meet the nice guy, and then we would go out with them, but you had to be, the advantage of that is you had to be home at 11 o'clock because nothing went back home after 11.
Okay.
So we would go home at 11 o'clock. And it always turned out nice because we could all go to work the next day, not be tired.
It just seems like the family was so close. You had so many siblings, but that your siblings were so close. Was it because you guys all stayed in the house so long? How long did you guys live together?
3 years. When you come from a big family, you know you can't separate them from you. You know, you've got to find accommodations for everybody. So right away, everybody's going, that's okay, we'll make ends meet, you know. And I said, that's okay, but I don't want to have anybody forced out of anything. And they said they wouldn't be forced out. But then we figured it out that if we were going to get married and we were living in the house, you know, downstairs, okay, we could use the downstairs room. So then when we got married, then that one moved out, and then that left room for another one that's able. And it just kind of felt
Something, huh?
It is. So, and what that makes me think about is, what was the biggest lesson now that you think about when you think about how you grew up and everybody being under one roof? How does that play for all different women? You know, like, what are the decisions you make?
But you have to think about this. This is in the very beginning of a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
By being in the very beginning of a marriage, you're preparing to live together forever. So you can't go right into that. So we got the room, and we were lucky to have the one room for us. And then by the time we were getting married, my brother John was getting married. So, you know, it went right down the line.
You had to be like real planners. Like, that's a little bit of the difference now too. People don't plan out like that. Like when you're talking about, when you said about the house and having the house without siding, and you had to wait. So then I'm like, well then, like, how are you doing that?
You know what's ironic? Everything like falls in place by itself.
Yes.
You're not forcing it.
No.
You're not forcing it. You're all there with the same goal.
Yeah.
And be in a less than ideal situation, because you might have one room that the person you're marrying with was with you in and nobody complained about it. And it makes me think about when we were little and you started getting a beach place for us, we would have one room for 3 people. And then when I got married, the year I got married, we had a hotel, one room. Anita, Sandy, and me and Chet, we were in that same room. Never did we think it's too tight. We're like, oh, thank you so much that you're including us and we can do it. We would have a cot in there, 2 double beds and a cot. And I don't know, we didn't have 2 cots. So I'm sort of wondering if Chet and I and somebody else slept together. But it was never like, oh my gosh, we did it for a week. It was never a problem. We were just so happy. And maybe this is what I'm saying. So happy to have carved out that family time that we knew was coming every year, that we were like, we didn't care.
What's one of the craziest things that you remember, or maybe it's not crazy, but that you remember Grandma doing as a mom?
I wouldn't call this crazy, but you would make a lot of my clothes. And never would I say, let's go in and get a McCall's pattern and here's what I want. I would say, I want this dress that has sleeves like Juliet had in the movie we just saw. And we would go and you would find patterns, one for the sleeve, one for the dress, and you would put all that stuff together. And I can't believe, because I saw how you made that work. Oh, that was crazy.
Determination.
Really? But how? This is me, Mom. We want to be kangaroos for Halloween. Can you do it? And you have a month, maybe not even that much. That's what my mom does for us. She sews our Halloween costumes.
You always did it. So it was like, to me, well, I wanted to do it because that's what you did.
Yeah.
You always made our Halloween costumes.
Yeah, because you wanted you kids to be happy.
Well, and you were so good. I do remember saying when I was getting married, would you consider making my dress? You said, no, because I would probably be walking down the aisle behind you sewing the back. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right.
Where did you learn how to sew like that?
Just at the factory.
Did they teach you when you
no,
started?
You learned at
4-H.
4-H. You learned how to sew patches and all these different things. So when you got that learned, then when you went to get a job, it came much easier for you because you knew what you were doing.
Wow.
But you go in with a goal that you can do it. You can't say no, you can't.
That's the defining thing too.
Yeah.
You know, you start with yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
And the,
Some people don't subscribe to that theory.
but the funny part of it is, you are so happy that you succeeded.
That's true.
Yeah. So if you succeed, it was well worth it.
Do you remember when we tried our kangaroo costumes on at the hotel in
Oh, yes.
Washington?
I
What
do.
was that like for you when we put those
Well,
costumes
it was really awesome. Except, I mean, Lindsay, you didn't give me a month. I think you gave me 2 weeks.
I did.
I just can't
But
believe.
that's how much faith I have in you because of what you've always been able to do. And that's now I know where that comes from.
No, and you're used to that. You know what that means to, and the kids do. The one that was the trickiest, Melvin's costume was not done. If you remember, I'm like, I'm doing the best I can in the hotel room. I pinned it and I sent it with you. And I said, you have to find a person to sew these seams. Do you have any friends who can sew? Meanwhile, you have to learn how to sew because you could do it. But it's just so funny because you just made so many. I remember the one that was black that I wanted the print fabric under it with a sheer black cover. It was like making 2 dresses and then you put it together.
But I was so used to sewing, that didn't seem like that big of a problem.
That was your big thing. That was your thing that you could really do well.
Well, and you were probably also artsy.
Yeah. Well, the kids, they wanted clothes made, which was one fortunate thing. They didn't say, no, I want to bought one.
Yeah.
That could have been a drawback. But they did not do that.
What was it like, Grandma, growing up? This is taking it back, but I know your dad was a coal miner, and here in Western Pennsylvania, it's coal mining country. I know they called Pittsburgh back in the day hell with the top off because of how the sky would light up from the steel mills and all that too. But what types of things did you see as a kid with your dad as a coal miner?
As my dad, a coal miner, he would go to work every day unless he got hurt. If you got hurt, you did not have a job.
Did he get hurt a lot?
Oh, a lot of them did. Coal would fall down and hit them. And
Isn't that unbelievable?
Yeah, so they could get hurt easy. My dad, he figured, do what you think is necessary. He never said, don't do it. And so I just went ahead and I took care of the kids and did that. And it was so cute because he would go to work in a coal mine. He would come home all black coal. So down in the basement, we had a big bathtub. And in this bathtub, my dad would fill it up with water and he'd put his soap in it and he would lean over the tub and we wash his back and let it run down his back, and play games with him. And he loved that.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you amused him besides. So
the way that you would entertain, I mean, the thing is that you look at that as a fun thing. I can't help but think that if I'd said to Lindsay and Andrew, when you were little kids, your dad's really dirty, would you go down and wash his back?
Yeah.
I don't know that you would think. I'm just saying, though, that was just something that you did that. In that Pittsburgh bath, they called it a Pittsburgh toilet because it was all downstairs and you would go through the outdoor cellar into it.
Straight
From outside.
Sort of when we started the pandemic and you came home one way, you left your clothes. Like he would, different situation, but obviously.
He would go in through the basement. And I'll bet Grandpa Polk did the same thing. But yeah, just as an amazing, it's just an amazing time.
It's amazing how generations skip and so much moves forward or changes.
Exactly.
And you realize, because what you just said about me and my brother, I agree. But you're in the middle of that, Mom.
Right.
So what?
I don't think I would have liked that. I think I didn't even like it when I came home from college and it was a Saturday and you would make me clean the house with everybody. I remember thinking,
Really?
Oh, yeah. I remember thinking, wait a minute. I haven't been here all week. I didn't do one thing. Well, I would have to clean. I'm just saying it will be like, so you're cleaning your dad's back in dirt. And I come in from college and I'm thinking, why should I have to clean the house? it's just different because maybe if that was you, because I think your mom had you guys all cleaning every room in the house, right?
Yeah, but not only that, my aunt in Mount Pleasant, she had 4 kids, but she couldn't keep her house clean. So my mother felt sorry for her. So I had to take a streetcar into Mount Pleasant and I would clean her house because nobody wanted to clean her house. So it always would be me.
So you never held any grudges on that because we knew all of their kids and they would come to the family reunions. And that was just incredible that you did that. You tell that story now, but even though you did that, that was still, it would be like me saying, go to Aunt Sandy's house and clean her house.
I mean, I would clean my aunt's house because I love her, but I would also be like, why are you asking me to clean my aunt's?
Exactly.
But I would go, whoever she sent me to, I would go.
It's a different set of rules. It's a different parenting and
It is.
acceptance of kids too. I never felt like my mom worked her butt off, and you were like super successful first as a teacher, then an administrator or a principal, but I like never felt like you worked.
That's funny.
Yeah, you know, like when I was a kid. I mean, I knew you worked, I knew your schedule, but you were home for a few years, and then it was like I just didn't like you did such a good job balancing. And it was just our norm because it was our routine. But and I remember like you cooked every meal. We knew it was good.
Those times back, there weren't so many demands. Your demands were things you had to do. Mine were things I had to do. But we didn't have all these, let's pick this, let's do this, let's do that. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
And I was able to work my job, and I worked a lot at home on my job. But I didn't have other stuff out there.
I didn't know that you worked at home a lot on your job.
Well,
so
that's
you
just
must have
how.
done a good job.
But it's just interesting because you do a great job with your kids. You do stuff when I'm like, I'll say to your dad, she needs to rest and get some sleep. But you try to fit everything in. You make sure your kids get those scavenger hunts, those things, which to me blows my mind because I didn't have the things that you have now.
Yeah.
All over the place stuff that we didn't have that. Like you had activities. You didn't have a camp every single week of the summer.
Yeah.
You had soccer.
And it's kind of like you have to,
Somewhere?
yep, you have more things that you have to think about. But I think you have more decisions that you have to make maybe now with like when you're faced with it because of all the things, right? Like what is the amount of time that where's your line about what the amount of time that you need to be, you know, with your family or with your kids or when you're going to work. Like I love to work, but I've realized that that's hard. It's hard balancing the two, but it's also doable. It's very doable. I love that my kids love to travel, and I'm so grateful that when I was at ESPN, they were the ones that opened my eyes to, oh, you can do this, because they made it easy. They made it easy for me to take my son to these events and do that kind of thing. So I've gotten very used to that, and I really value that, you know. But it's also, I've realized how, you know, there are certain times where you really need to be present. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
I remember when our kids were little and you and Dad would, if we wanted to go somewhere, we would either bring them up here and then you and Chet's parents would share the kids. Or I remember when I wanted to do the summer of the Northern Virginia Writing Project, I waited until they were a certain age and sent them up here for 2 weeks so I could do it. And you guys really helped out in that. But it also gave you, which is part of, I think, why you like to come here so much, that time, you know, of being here. And I have a book from Sandy when she took the kids to Deep Creek, you guys at Deep Creek Lake. And so that's how we never had any outside help because we lived away, but we would, in the summer, we would carve time out.
I think kids are inherently just curious and love to be exposed. My kids have been talking about fireflies for 2 weeks because they knew they were coming here and they were just excited to catch them, and they don't get that experience at home. So I think there's so much that, you know, we control that. Like, what are they exposed to? How simple is it? What are the things? And everyone's doing their best. So I was blown away by this book, which is about my mom Grandma, you organized all of these books so beautifully. In this book, this is about my mom. I haven't even seen all these pictures.
Oh,
What was she like as a baby, as a child?
I was perfect.
As a little
wasn't I,
girl.
Mom? Was I perfect when I was a baby?
What was she like as a girl?
yeah.
Yeah, right.
How would you describe my mom's personality as a kid?
As a kid, pleasant. She was pleasant.
Shy, right?
Yeah,
No, I wasn't shy.
a little bit shy.
Was I a little shy?
Like not overly shy, but
So my favorite thing in here is your story of my life. My mom wrote the story of my life, and you saved this.
I can't believe you saved that.
And you have this beautiful. First of all, Mom, you have the most beautiful handwriting out of everyone, and I
that's
know
because-
that you're an
well,
artist.
thank
also.
you, but that's because that's what we learned in school. And if we didn't do it right, the nuns would smack our fingers.
So you have a lot in this story. I was like, there are so many things that I didn't know, but one of the things that struck me was you said when I was 4.5, I took ballet lessons. After taking them for 1 year, I was at a recital at Ramsey High in Mount Pleasant. As I stood on the stage, I was very nervous until I saw my mother, and then I was relieved a little.
yeah.
And I thought there's just something about mothers and daughters and mothers and kids, right?
That's so true.
What do you remember about that?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I just, yeah, it was awesome.
That's the nice thing about putting it in writing.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I remember that you would always drive me to lessons. And I remember my costume and the song. Do you?
What was the song? What was the song? What song?
Do you remember? I
Rover?
have learned a ballet dance. Do you remember?
Uh-huh.
Mom, stop.
I know.
Hey, if you
If
can't
you
remember,
watch and see. Remember?
uh-huh. If you can't remember, how can I?
I remember. I just can't do it, but Dad used to sing it.
Uh-huh.
Well, this isn't good.
I know.
How come you don't have these sad cry
That
jeans?
purple costume is somewhere in this house, and I'll bet Sippy would love it.
Yeah.
It had feathers.
How come I have horrible cry jeans and Mom does
because
and you
I
don't?
do. No, you used to.
So it gets better.
I want to tell you something. I was thinking about this. You used to. You've really gotten your stuff together with that. You don't do it anymore. You'll say, I'll be like crying over stuff and you're not. And you'll say, I just think there's no sense in doing that. But I tried everything. I've even read books on what can you think about when you're going to cry so you look like a really cool person.
Well, I think that what it is that I realized about myself, and I've shared this before, but I feel like I have a very hard time with transitions. I have a very heightened sense of this time goes fast and it's so special and you don't want it to be gone, right? But so I think also with that, it's like you have to figure it out. Like it is transitions, and you have to just, if you can, be in the moment as much as you can be in the moment. But I do wonder, I'm like, you're very much like that. I think we are all empathic, which is newsflash. But yeah, wow. But so with the ballet, it's just you're thinking about a wonderful memory that you had with your mom in the car, and that's kind of what we're talking about.
You know, and it's really interesting because, but you did used to be more of a crier. Now you just seem to be able to, and this isn't just now, this is maybe the last 10, 15 years. Yeah. You can I can be saying, well, Mom, and she's like, well, I just look at it like this. But I think you have that. But your brother also has that.
Yeah.
He's a crier.
My brother couldn't make it through my rehearsal dinner. He was giving the speech and he got about 5 words out.
I know.
I was blown away.
And your dad also, so does your husband.
A little bit.
A little bit. I mean,
we're all in trouble.
No, I don't, I do think because I would like to present myself like in England and just be there, just smiling. But that's never going to happen. But you really have been able to do more. I don't know how you did it.
You can't be everything.
No, you can't.
I know. So on that note,
we think
Grandma,
you could be everything.
I know.
I make bargains with myself.
What do you mean?
What kind of bargain?
Like if I promise myself that I won't be all weepy for something else, then the next one I can handle better.
Wait,
and I can.
Like what?
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Like when you say, say you're going to say you can't come over. And I'll say, oh, why can't you come over? Then I stop and think, don't act like that. Tell her it'll be nice when you're able to come over.
Oh.
Just swing it around a little bit and you get a different attitude. And it helps so much.
So you are talking about you control the way that your own
Yeah.
outlook is on
Yeah.
a situation.
Yeah, but I'm having a little tougher time right now.
Really?
Yeah, because the last few weeks I'm thinking too much about too many things, and I've got to take some of that out of there.
What kinds of things?
Well, I tell myself I won't let myself get worked up over leaving somebody behind at home. So then I'll tell myself, well, if you do that, then you make a bargain with this and kind of work yourself out.
That's very, and you never shared that before, but that's very interesting. It's interesting because I know that I know you're doing something, because I know that you're not like falling apart on stuff that I would be falling apart on.
I'm not falling apart, but I'm trying to rearrange my life a little bit at the end because I'm thinking a little differently.
Tell me more about, what are you doing differently?
So when I go to bed at night, I put myself in another place. I put myself in where the animals are, or the cat or something, and then I'll think, oh, I'm going to live that way instead of worry about children.
Oh,
So
because you worry about your kids.
I still worry
Oh,
about them.
no, don't tell me that, because I worry about mine, and I thought that would go away.
Well, it makes it hard. And if you don't work on it, it's going to be harder.
Do you know,
Yeah.
we're probably saving $200 on some therapy session right here, because I never heard that. But it's like,
I go to my therapist, to the ones.
You have a therapist? Oh,
No, not regular, but
No,
I call it that.
yeah, you're talking about what you've control your therapy. See,
I really go to
we
therapy.
pay, I do too. We pay a lot of money to go to therapy. You're doing it yourself. Maybe go ahead.
Yeah. So I control myself. So then the ones that got out of hand, I'm wiping them down, saying, come on, get down there. I have to get this one up here.
Okay.
And I work it out. And I don't know how, but it works.
See, you're tough. That's tough that you do that, but that's really what therapists say.
So what are the things that you worry about at this point? Can you take us inside? What is it what's it like when you're 95 and he's right. You look beautiful. You look like you belong in a soap opera. No one.
Yeah, there's something that I was trying to be specific about, and I'm having a tough time picking it out. But anyway, I can tell when I'm letting myself be overpowered by something else. And then I start thinking, push that to the side a little bit. We've got to clear up this one. I mean, you talk to yourself.
Smart.
Yeah.
And it works. And I'll think, don't you let yourself worry like you're doing about the past. Only the present. And that's what you try to do.
Like keeping yourself in the moment.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because those moments are pretty doggone important.
It is.
They're very important. And you could sit there worrying about stuff instead of missing that importance.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have a way that you do that I think a lot of people just have a hard time with.
Yeah, so I made up my mind. When I go to bed at night, I try to get myself all calmed down, and I think of the things that I want to be concerned about, and then I'll wipe out some, and I'll think, this waits till tomorrow, this is today's, and then I'll go back to tomorrow's.
Okay.
And that's what I do. And it's hard to do. It is hard. But then you have to really fight yourself because you think, is it worth all this frustration you're causing yourself, And so I find out, instead of staying frustrated, work it out inside me.
Mom, do you think that your mother had those same things? Do you think she worried about all 6 of you guys?
Didn't live long enough.
She did. She died so young. She was what, 62? She was really
I
young.
barely know. I barely know anything about your mom.
Uh-oh, now I found the place. I'm so sorry. You can join the club. But
Can you tell me about your mom?
Yeah. It was very hard because she was too young.
she was so sick.
Yeah.
And it was at a time when it might have been, I'm not saying she would have lived a lot longer, but it would have been a lot easier. But what I'm wondering is, she had 6 kids. She had to worry about, obviously you had a happy life, but no one has a perfect family. So she had to worry about
Yeah.
things.
And then when she got cancer at the end.
Yeah. But I wondered if you learned any of those techniques that you have from her, because then you came off like this really strong mom, and which you always were. And now you're still strong with, if you're saying you've got these things, because I don't know if you, I'm just saying, I always say you're only as happy as your least happy kid. I've read, and I think that's really true. And it can be some dumb old thing, like somebody's upset about they couldn't get the bike they wanted. But I think that's true. So it seems like you've been able to.
Well, I think by getting my mother out of that now, that might be the answer at the end of the day, to talk to my mother about it.
Do you ever talk to your mother?
Oh, yeah.
Do you? I talk to Dad, but I only save it for big things because I don't want to waste it on something that I really don't need. But you talk to Dad too, I know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's what helps you to get over that hump.
Yep.
And then you have to let it sink in.
How do you let it sink in?
Well,
Just
because
take
I
time.
thought about my mother today and brought her back.
Interesting.
What was it like with what kind of woman was your mom?
Gentle. Very good.
What was it like when she died? How old were you?
Oh, let's see.
You were just no, you were not born. I was in high school.
Yeah.
So she died in probably 68.
Yeah. Like way too young.
Yeah.
Do you remember that time frame when she died and what you guys talked about and what that was like for you?
No, because everybody in the family doesn't do that. You know, some people discuss it, some people don't. But I'm one that I would want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
so,
that's normal to have that because
Yeah.
some people just can't talk and some can.
And so she would, I could think about her, I could talk to her in my sleep, and it worked out good.
I was named after her. Her name was Teresa.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know a lot about her.
See how far back you took it?
I know.
Yeah. She is pretty cool. She was very cool.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
She had 18 grandchildren.
Yeah.
There were 18. 6 kids had 18 grandchildren.
We just had a little one.
And everybody lived within a 1-mile radius.
That's special.
Yeah, everybody did. And it was everybody did.
So it all worked out nice, but I think it's going to help now.
That's interesting. That's interesting that so many years after. It's just very interesting.
Do you feel like you feel her presence at times?
Well, especially since I brought her up today. And I haven't talked about her in a long time. And so I think it will help me that when I go to bed tonight, and I'll be thinking of her and the other parts and see what she can help me with.
Wow.
Yeah. You just need to talk to them sometimes. And it helps.
Like granddad.
Yeah. My dad was a calming man.
He was.
So, Grandma, do you have good advice on? I would love to get your take and advice from your wisdom, right?
Yes.
What is your best advice for marriage?
Oh, I can't even imagine right now. I have to think about that a while. Yeah. Next conversation.
But how about you and Dad? How about you and Dad? I mean, everybody's got, you get two people together and you think you have a lot of similarities, and you do, but then you find out you have some that you don't have.
Yeah.
But then you find ways to work with it and how to deal with it. I mean, Dad put a big star on your bathroom. You were like the star of his life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would say, good morning. He would say, what would he say in the morning to you? Good morning, sunshine, or something.
Yeah.
Have you seen the reindeer?
Have you seen the reindeer? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But it was nice. And so you just remember the good things and pull them out. And then you think about those instead of the bad.
Right.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot lately about how people find ways to stay present. And I think that's really hard, especially these days where it's like you're pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
There are phones, all of it kind of feeds into the other. It's it's difficult. And it takes a lot to say, okay, no, here, you're doing this, or whatever that decision point is.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that I take from time spent here is this room to me like symbolizes so much because everyone's family circumstance is different if they live around their family or if they travel to family. And for us, we would come here on holidays. And I just remember feeling so just calm and happy and peaceful, and so safe. I think it was like safe, but it was like everyone was together. But what are some of your favorite memories? What does this house mean to you?
And see, everything meant a world to us, no matter what, because we worked so hard to get it. And that made a big difference. Yeah, so you don't feel like you didn't do enough at your house.
If is there something that you think younger people should know that you could only know from your perspective?
Yeah.
What would you suggest that people do to be happy?
Well, you know what? I keep thinking it makes me want to cry. But when your two little ones come out here and they're smiling so happy, build on that. Build on that. Like anything that goes on, say, look how lucky you are. Look how lucky. Look what we can do together. And we couldn't do that before. And just stress the good points of life. Because I see how happy they are. Both of them.
They have that pure happiness. They have that pure happiness.
Yes, yes.
Paul's like, what the hell have I gotten into? I'm so sorry.
Think you cried enough today?
I know, Jesus, Grandma. I do notice, and I love that. Sometimes I take a moment because, especially both my kids, but Sibby, my daughter, has this skip. So she skips through life, and I when I see that, I'm like, oh, let's keep that as long as we can, right? Oh Lord, this is not usable because I have tears rolling down my face, probably.
But you're doing the right way.
Oh, thank
Because
you.
you have them cuddled close to you.
You do.
And then if you need to talk to them, you have a good opportunity to talk to them.
Yeah. And they listen. Well, you can feel yourself when you're falling away from being able to be present, when you're busy.
You can tell.
Right? Like I think about, I never felt that from you, but when I'm talking about the days, Mom, where you worked when we were growing up in high school and things, I knew you worked and you had a job that was very demanding, but you did a really good job of balancing it all. Like we always knew that we always knew what it was going to be like when we were at home, that it was going to be good and it was going to be safe and have this great environment. But I know that's not easy. You realize now that it's not easy,
Because as long as you show them love, they know where it's coming from. That's the important thing.
Okay, I'm almost done. I have one more question. What would you say is the toughest thing that you have overcome that you're proud of overcoming?
Dad died?
I never would have thought about that.
Yeah. That was tough.
Yeah.
But anyway, he left me with good memories.
That's interesting that I know that. I didn't think you would say that, but I should have thought you would say that. But
Yeah.
you've done so well with that, that I really, so well.
Uh-huh. Well, I tried hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was well liked.
So it's coming on 10 years next week.
Huh?
10 years next week.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, that time flies so fast. Uh-huh.
So what have you learned in those 10 years? Are there things that you've
To stand on my own 2 feet and make it work. And that's all.
how have you been able to do that?
When you go to bed at night, you pray for the best. Yeah. I pray a rosary every night.
Oh, that works.
I know you've always been faithful, but
Oh, yeah.
you've really leaned into that more. Yes.
Always. So, you can console yourself a good bit. Yeah.
But you really have, in the last 10 years, you've really accomplished a lot of stuff that you've moved beyond. I mean, I know that you miss him every single day, but you have made yourself
Yeah.
enjoy what you're doing, take advantage of really good things.
That's right. Yeah, so everything's coming along pretty good, It just takes a matter of time working it out.
Do you have something, Mom, that you think is like one of the toughest things that you've overcome, or a lesson that you've learned? And whether it's like as a mom or just as a woman, or
I think my dad's death was probably one of them, but also you worry about your kids all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And even though you guys have both done really well, you still worry because you want them to be happy. You want them to be as happy as they can possibly be. You don't care what they do. Like if you said what?
That's the last thing you say when you go to bed at night.
It is.
what?
Happiness of my children.
I have this little prayer book that's about prayers for mother.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah, I'll start my rosary and I'll think this is for them.
Yeah. Okay.
you want your children to be happy than your grandchildren.
Yeah.
I'll have you bawling all night.
Yeah. Grandma, no more. No moms. Okay.
Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it.
But it's when you think about it, it's happy tears because they're all things that
Yeah.
they're really, some were sad, but you've been able to move on. Of course, you would never choose to move on without Dad,
Yeah.
but you've been able to do that. And I feel like he's always out there.
And I never thought I could have managed
No,
that.
you know what, Mom? I have to be honest. I didn't think so either. And I can't believe it because you've just done so great. I just was thinking because you grew up in such a man-dominant time, but you were able to pick up every single thing and do it.
That's right.
And I remember you saying to me that sometimes, you just have to, it's how you approach a situation
Yeah.
that makes it,
Yeah.
that helps the outcome of the situation, whether it's balancing,
That's right.
parenthood, marriage, all of it. Dealing with my mom. I remember one time you telling me, you said, Lindsay, it's, what did you say? Sugar, not vinegar or something, or some analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can get more with sugar than with vinegar.
And you've told me that about marriage. You've told me that about marriage.
Yeah.
So,
And I know that's true, but sometimes that's hard to listen.
So at the end, it's like you control yourself and the power that you have over your mind, and to really think positive thoughts, but also help you through a circumstance is very powerful.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of good advice. You've had a lot of good advice that I will keep looking for.
Yes.
One more session.
One more session. Okay. 2.0. I'll do it. 2.0. Part 2.
Okay.
Mom, Grandma, cheers. Happy 95th.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Thank you so much.
I love that conversation so much. And it's so strange now to look back now that my grandma's gone, but it's, oh my God, I'm just so grateful to have that. And I'm not going to cry again. Maybe I am. Anyway, what I was going to say is that I know how true that is about keeping your kids close. And I am so grateful that my grandma shared that notion, because even though it sounds like it's coming from a grandma who's going to say that because she loves everybody, even having the conversation earlier in our season with Bridget Kerr-Morris, who is the middle school psychologist and relational expert, that's what she said. She said, keep them close. Don't be afraid of keeping them close. And I think at the end of the day, when it comes to family, children, loved ones, even people that you're annoyed at in your family, there's never going to be anything bad about keeping them close, pulling them back in. And I think there's really a lot to say for that, especially when we live in such a time of so much potential distraction, phones, whatever it is. I think at the end of the day, all everyone needs is love. So anyway, I'm going to go find some tissue. Thank you so much for listening and watching this episode. My Grandma Vee is such a special person, and so is my mom. So thanks, and I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining me. I can't wait to see you back here next week. Please don't forget, follow and subscribe to Things No One Tells You. And of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to leave a 5-star review, because that's really what helps people get more listeners. We would love to grow this community. We are so grateful that you're a part of it. See you next time.